Hello, my name is Bob Johnson, and in this video we are going to step through the process of renewing the certificates in the 1.1 version of the iPrint appliance. In addition to a web browser, we will be using WinSCP and PuTTY. WinSCP can be downloaded from winscp.net, and PuTTY can be downloaded from putty.org. We will be following the steps in Knowledge Base article 7016720, which you are seeing on my screen. This article can be found at www.novell.com/support. The certificates on the iPrint appliance expire after 2 years from the installation date. When this happens, you will typically see an error like this in iManager when you attempt to manage an iPrint object. You can also see errors like this in the var log apache 2 error_log file. And note that one of the errors actually references a possible issue with certificate verification. The version of iManager that ships with the iPrint appliance does not include the certificate management plugins needed to renew the certificates. So the first step in this process to renew the certificates is to install the appropriate management plugins. To do this, you'll need to open a PuTTY session, and if this is the first time running PuTTY against the appliance, the connection might be refused because by default the SSH service is not running on the appliance. To start the SSH service, log in to the management console of the appliance by specifying HTTPS and then the IP address or DNS name of the appliance, followed by a :9443. This will bring up the management console login screen. You'll log in as VA admin and the password you created when you installed the appliance. Once you log into the management console, you'll then need to click on the System Configuration option, which is right here, and then you'll click on System Services, and the SSH service you'll want to set to a status of start, and if you'd like it to automatically start up, you can go to Options and select the option to set as automatic. Once the status shows as running, then you can open a PuTTY session to the appliance, which I've already done. Once in the PuTTY session, you're going to refer to step number 1 in the knowledge base article, which is to copy and paste this following string of commands into the PuTTY session. Simply select it, copy it, and in your PuTTY session, when you right click, the script or string of commands will be pasted. Press enter and the string of commands will execute. Once these commands have been executed, the next thing we need to do is edit the config.xml file located in the var op novell iManager nps web inf directory. In the PuTTY session, open the config.xml with vi. You just issue the command as you see it on the screen here. Once you've typed in the path and file name, press enter. This will open the PuTTY session. The section we're looking for is should module download. Because I've done this before, it's automatically taking me to this location. To find that specific setting, just use the / key and then type in should module download and press enter, and that'll take you right to where you need to be. And then we need to change this false value to true. So just press the insert key, use the delete key to remove false, and in its place type the word true. And once you've done that, then we'll need to save the file. And to save the file in VI, press the escape key, press the colon, press W for write and Q for quit. And that'll write the setting to the config.xml file. The commands we ran earlier stopped the Tomcat process. We need to start it back up. Type rcnovell-tomcat6 start and press enter. This will start up the Tomcat process. Our next step is to install the actual certificate management plugins in iManager. Because we've stopped and started Tomcat, I'll need to log back into iManager. Click on Configure, which looks like the person sitting at a desk. Click on Plugin Installation, Available Novell Plugin Modules. And then we're looking for Novell Certificate Server Plugins for iManager. I've also seen this show up as NetIQ Certificate Server Plugins for iManager. They're both the same. Put a check marks there and click Install. Click on Agree. And these particular plugins typically don't take too long to install. Once they've finished installing, you'll click on the option to close. And in order for these plugins to take effect, we need to restart Tomcat again. So click close. You can use the page up command if you'd like, and that'll bring the command back up, and then just add an RE to restart. And once Tomcat's been restarted, we'll click on the home icon, and because it's been restarted, we need to log back in. And notice now we have two new plugin options, the NetIQ Certificate Access and the NetIQ Certificate Server. Next, we click on NetIQ Certificate Server, click on the Configure Certificate Authority, and then we want to enable server self-provisioning, and we want to select the option Health Check Force Default Certificate Creation /update on CA change, and click OK. We also, at this point, need to run the set of commands from the knowledge base article from step number 3. So we will copy these commands, and we want to paste them into our PuTTY session. These commands can take a few minutes to execute. Once the commands that were issued have completed executing, we will go back into iManager, and we want to delete the SAS service object. So click on NetIQ Certificate Access, click on SAS service object, select the SAS service object and click delete. And then we're going to remove the server certificates. Now, in your case, if you don't have server certificates in the list, like I do not, we'll go ahead and move on to the next step, which is to open the PuTTY session, and we will run an NDS config space upgrade. Log in as admin.iPrint appliance and use the password that you created when you installed the appliance. Once the NDS config upgrade process is completed, you can go back into iManager and click on Server Certificates. And notice we now have newly created certificates. At this point, we select the SSL Certificate DNS and we click on Export. Drop down the list and choose SSL Certificate DNS. Export private key and include all certificates in the certification path if available. Remain marked. This password is something that you'll be prompted for later on in this process. Make sure you write it down. It will only be needed during this process. And I would keep it as simple as you can. I always use Novell, lowercase. Click Next. And now we need to save the exported certificate. And we do this by clicking on this blue link. And it's going to save a file called cert.pfx. Typically, by default, it saves it in your downloads directory. You need to know where this file has been saved, as we are going to need to copy it to the TMP directory of the iPrint appliance. So I'll save this file. And now we'll use WinSCP to copy this file from our local PC to the appliance. We will run WinSCP against the appliance. I've already browsed to the directory where I saved the cert.pfx. I need to make sure in the right-hand pane that I change to the TMP directory of the appliance. Once I'm in the TMP directory, I can simply click on cert.pfx, drag and drop, and I'll be prompted to copy the file. With the cert.pfx copied to the TMP directory of your appliance, we can now move to the final step in the knowledge base article. And this involves simply copying this string of commands into your PuTTY session. You'll authenticate using admin.iPrint appliance. And your password. And this is where we need to recall the password we gave earlier when we were exporting the certificate. I used Novell. This process typically doesn't take too long. And at this point, the certificates have been renewed. Now that the certificates have been renewed, we can go back into iManager. I would close the browser and start a new session, and then go ahead and go into iPrint, manage Print Manager. And now we are able to manage our print objects. And that concludes this video. Thank you for watching.